First order of business, I do need to acknowledge our mayor, David Bailey, councillors David Miller, Robert Chambers, Brian Coleman, Joan Gatward, and John McAlpine. They're all here with us, so a quick round of applause for them. We're here for most of them. So everyone here today has a building like this close to where you live, where you work, where you play, raise your family, everything you do in life. Today the doors are open for you here in Scotland to commemorate the grand opening of Station 8. Along with the building being open, we need to acknowledge the amazing group of people here in Scotland who work hard to make this Fire Hall number 8 sign out front. As you pass by that sign, you probably saw it when you come in. There's a few lines where rotating messages. The chief always wants smoke alarm stuff. There's community events go on that sign. But there's letters on that sign that are permanent. Scotland Fire Station 8. The station's always here. It's always ready. It's always strong when strength is needed. And it's always comforting when strength just wasn't enough. Today is the grand opening of this fire hall, and we thank you all for joining us to mark this special occasion. Today is another step forward in cementing this building and its caretakers into this community. The fire service is all about small steps forward, as moving backwards is just not an option for us.
Well, thank you, and thank you for coming today, everyone. On behalf of my council that's not here, which is only half of them are here, which is good to see. I'd like to welcome you, obviously, to the county for those that don't come from the county, and invite you to enjoy the opening of our newest inventory of fire stations. We are a very progressive county, and we are very fortunate to have the fire stations that we have throughout the county. I'm very, very proud to be the mayor of the County of Brant. The fire service in the County of Brant has always been very special to the council and to the county. For 100 years, there's been volunteer fire departments all over the county. They take it very seriously, and it's generational. We have, and we recruited some people. The other night we inducted, I think, maybe 50 new cadets, new firemen the other night at the fairgrounds in Paris. And they mentioned at the induction of those people, I can't say men because there was 3 women, that some of them have been 4 generations of firefighters, and it's incredible when people step up like that to serve the community. So there's many more people here today that have much more to say about all of this than I do. I'm just glad to be the mayor in such a prosperous time in the County of Brant. And I'd like to thank the provincial government at this point, just because of the election being so close, for letting the County of Brant not only survive, but through COVID funding and provincial funding, no matter which government it is, they did well by the County of Brant. We had enough to survive and to thrive, and for that I'm very grateful. So thank you all for coming, and I'll let someone much more important, I'm sure, speak to the fire station now.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of the Government of Canada, it is my distinct pleasure to join you today in the celebration of your new fire station. As you know, this is one of 3 stations that we are celebrating grand openings in the next few weeks. County of Brant residents rely on the quick response of over 185 skilled firefighters when a crisis strikes. Whether that is fighting fires, responding to emergencies, or engaged in rescue efforts, the fire team provides critical services to the community. This new fire station has been built for the needs of today and into the future. From expanded bay capacity, office space, and training rooms, firefighters have all the necessary tools to discharge their responsibilities in keeping our communities safe. Congratulations.
I know enough that long speeches at fire hall openings are not a good idea, because at any one time the pagers might go off and you might be standing here talking to yourself. So hopefully I will finish my remarks before the pagers go off. I'm not used to seeing the firefighters dressed up as neat and as sharp looking as they are. I'm usually seeing them in their bunker gear at incidents that they go to, and we're thankful that they all can go to them. I don't live in the Scotland Fire area. I'm just a stone's throw out of the Scotland Fire area. The hydro lines are just on, actually the dividing line, I'm on that side, Scotland's on this side, but I know that if the worst happened, the Scotland Fire Department would be at my place just as fast as the Burford Fire Department. I can't help but think, driving by, you see at some fire halls the antique equipment on display outside or inside, and you wonder yourself, how in the heck did they ever fight fires with that stuff back then? You have to be modern, you have to keep modern, and that's what we try to do. I wonder 30 years from now or 40 years from now whether this building will be looked at as kind of like the old building, maybe out of date. Hopefully not, but it might just be, who knows. Back 30 and 40 years ago, you would have never thought that the existing fire hall would need to be replaced to the extent that it is here. Hopefully in the next short while, some of the things here can be looked at and perhaps modernized and retrofitted along the way, because as soon as a building is built, the next day it's one day older and one day out of date. So you have to keep up. You have to make sure you are supplying, as Mayor Bailey would say, and the council would say, we have to commit as politicians to provide the resources to the fire departments so that they can do the job that they do so well. So I've been lucky, the pagers haven't went off, and I'm just about finished my remarks. I make them up as I go along. Next time there's you see the green lights flashing behind you, get the hell out of the way, because they're on their way. So remember that. And to the firefighters, thank you for being here. A fire hall is not a fire hall unless there's firemen in it or firefighters in it, and that's what makes a fire department. So,
good afternoon, everyone. Just seems like a short while ago, during one of the annual open houses at the old fire hall station, that Chief Hunter ambushed me and pointed out all the deficiencies at that building. From the door's not big enough. They didn't have a proper training room. Insulation was poor. He had a list, but I made a note. And here we are today. So I'm 9 years later, and I'm proud to be part of it. And back then, I don't even think we owned St. Anthony Daniel at the time. So we built up, I think, a fairly nice county facility here with the fire station, the community center, obviously the park right there. And when you think about all the people that have been involved, I'm just, like I say, I'm proud to be part of it. I'm proud of the certain firefighters that pushed us along, certain members of the public. I'm proud of staff for the work they've done, and I'm proud of council and the mayor for supporting this. You heard from the mayor earlier, we do support the fire service. We know we got a great service, and we always try and support them as much we can. So, like I say, we have a great facility. We're very proud of it. We're proud of the fire service, that crew members that work out of here. Great facility with great crew members, and let's hope we don't need it too much.
And I'm going to call it the Scotland Fire Area, only because the area that Scotland serves is mapped out, and every fire hall in the county has an area that it serves. But as Brent pointed out, we're one cohesive department, and we serve the whole County of Brant. But Scotland Fire Area has always been near and dear to my heart. As a councillor from the former township of Oakland, we work closely with the Scotland Station, as they were within the police village, and we were partners in their funding and responsible for servicing the Scotland Police Village. So there's a little history for you. Fast forward over 20 years, and here we are today, celebrating this new County of Brant Fire Hall Station number 8. It will serve the area and the county well for many decades to come. And I particularly want to thank the men and women of Scotland Station for the excellent service they provide to our area, the citizens and traveling public. And I want to thank you for your willingness to serve as firefighters. A very sincere thank you for your courage, for your dedication, and your commitment to the fire service. And to our many new members, I want to thank you for joining the team and becoming part of the Fire Family Service. I look forward to working with all of you now and in the future. Thank you.
So I would like to just kind of pull that together, you know, the vision and passion of all our elected members here to serve the County of Brant, and particularly its fire service. It's very evident under this roof today that you have the passion and drive to support the fire service here in the County of Brant. Projects like this are big ones that everybody can see. Those of us on the operations level, we see them every day. You know, once a year is big with budget, but we see the council support all the time, and it's always very appreciated. Today, we get to make a really big deal of it. So. But, as Councillor Coleman kind of hinted at, that's enough of politics for today. As much as they're needed, and we appreciate it. So as I alluded to earlier, everyone here, you're all potential customers of the fire service. Particularly services that are provided by this building. And as customers, the last thing anyone thinks about when you call for help is how shiny the trucks are, how well the back door closes at the fire hall. Has the grass been cut? Is the compressor got oil in it? Is it too noisy? When people call for the fire service, all they want is the simple fact to know that it's here and it's coming to assist them in their time of need. All will agree, as Councillor Gatward alluded to, the most invaluable asset of any fire hall is the people and the select group of amazing Scotland firefighters who attend to the care of this building and all the services it provides. They're the ones that care about how shiny the trucks are, how well the door closes. But they not only care that the trucks are shiny, they also care that the trucks are always full of fuel, full of water, and every other supply and tool on these trucks is ready to respond for battle at any given time. It could happen right now. I don't see any dispatchers here, so I can easily say it's been quiet today. They love that word. The deputy's squirming a little bit when I bring that up, but you know, first and foremost, that's what the fire service cares about. And there was phone calls this morning about, okay, so this station will backfill into Scotland if this happens, and this station can backfill into Scotland if that happens. But you know, if there's an incident right across the road, we're not waiting for someone else to come. Some of these guys will soon have their jackets off and in the trucks, and they're like, you guys can deal with the grand opening. We're firefighters, we're gonna go do our job. So, but that's part of what makes this the fire station in Scotland and every other station in the county, is the people that care for it, to use the resources provided to us by council and put them to their greatest effort. So at the top of the non-political team is our Fire Chief, Jeff Heyman, our Deputy Chief, Darren Watson. In the office, I'm not sure they're here, I haven't seen them all, Lori Tipler, Leanne Thompson, and particularly today and through the next two open houses, Joanne DaCosta. That group of people makes our whole admin look good to the rest of the department. So at this time, I will invite Chief Jeff Heyman to step forward and bring us his comments.
A renewed beginning is a good description of what is here now. When construction began on the original fire hall back in 1960, the fire board culminated the need to house the old Scotland fire area apparatus in a dedicated building. Prior to that, they'd been in garages and stuff. So since that time, things have certainly changed. 62 years. Actually add another 10 because I think Bob, where's Bob? Another 10 on top of that, correct? When they started? Another 15, 20. So what is referred to as legacy firefighting, a typical living room fire with furniture that dated from, well, my grandparents' time, would take about 29 minutes to reach a temperature where it would become fully involved with fire. Basically what was known as flashover. That same room today would take 3 minutes with modern materials and chemicals. So, smoke from the legacy fire was bad enough. But now the firefighters have to worry about all the carcinogenic byproducts that they have to protect themselves with. That stuff permeates the smoke. Training may have been involved with, running a few scenarios, repacking the hose bed, Bob, and listening to the instructor. Now we have mandated skills and knowledge that are legislated. They have to meet the needs of an expanded vision and service to the community. So we now have online resources. We have the use of audio-visual equipment. We have theory and training sessions. We have improved health and safety. All of this are components of supporting the provision of service. Those that remember the old International cab-over fire truck, 1966 or 65? 65. It weighed about just a tad under 15,000 pounds, had hydraulic brakes, had a 500 gallon per minute pump, and carried about 350 gallons of water. Whether or not the tank leaked, we're not sure. The new truck has 1,250 gallon per minute pump on it, carries 6 SCBA, self-contained breathing apparatus, multiple tools, and is equipped with a diesel engine, air brakes, has over 1,000 gallons of water on it, and weighs just a tad over 35,000 pounds equipped. The old truck had a single cherry on top. The new one, when they turn the lights on, you can see it from the space station. So the common element, fire stations that house apparatus, train the firefighters, and take care of their health and safety, have changed immensely. The old station had a single washroom, had narrow truck bays. By the way, we had a special GL number just to replace the mirrors on that truck because we did it on a regular basis. We had overhead doors that could launch a satellite. When they opened, boom, up they went. It was really scary. The training room was cramped. There was limited to no real means to decontaminate the equipment, the trucks, the gear, or the firefighters. I can remember watching one of the trucks back in the middle of February, uphill, on a slant, in icy weather, with maybe an inch or so clearance to the mirrors. I was impressed. I was also scared because I was going to have to replace some more mirrors. The building has served its purpose, doing the best it could, but when it reached the end of the expected operational usefulness, this renewal was needed. Jim's office is now correctly sized. You can actually put more than one person in there along with the filing cabinet. The training room is adequate, more than adequate to meet the needs of the firefighters. We actually have functional internet and modern technologies that are there to assist. The washrooms and showers are now provided to make sure that we get the opportunity to keep our firefighters clean and limit the exposure to the hazards of firefighting. I expect over time, as was discussed with Councillor Coleman earlier, that any modifications and changes can and will be made to make sure that the structure adapts to serve the community in the future, and as well as the firefighters. That capability has been built into this building. But as Brent said, a building is not a fire station without the people that make it a fire station. So the people that served before here in Scotland include Charlie, Lawrence, Phil, Bryce, Bob, Pierre, Richard, and Norm. They all made the station work. I'd like to thank council for supporting this necessary community facility, as this whole project was kind of complicated. 3 at one time. I'm not sure if anybody else would want to try that again, especially during COVID. It made it for very much a challenge. So, to the current crew, I'm going to ask you to take good care of your hall. Use it wisely, and it will provide for you for many years to come. Thank you.
Speaking of inviting people to the front from the top, shortly I will invite District Chief Jim Ritchie to come and join us. I do need to make a quick note that District Chief Jim Ritchie, 42 years of service here in Scotland. Before yourself, District Chief Hunter, who's with us today, with 44 years officially. God knows how many, if we count them all, I'm sure. And Bob's father, Charlie, with an official 46 years. Those 3 people alone are the 3 district chiefs that have looked after this station since it was formed. So together, we're talking 140 years officially, probably another 20 or 30 as you just weren't old enough to join or you were here with your family. So yeah, there's 3 men, 150 years would be a pretty round figure have dedicated to the Scotland Fire Station. So on that note, we'll start with District Chief Jim Ritchie.
Today, it's been a long time coming, but it's well worth it. I gotta say, wow, there's so much more room in this station than the old one. You look at this place and it's massive. Imagine 19 men crowded into the kitchen at the old hall, which measured 10 foot by 14 foot. Yeah, you were sitting there shoulder to shoulder, no room to move. And that's back when everybody was allowed to smoke in the stations, so the air was always not the freshest. Now we have a training room that could probably fit 60 people or more in it. Big change. We have the kitchen there. We don't meet in the kitchen, but we have the training room. Went from 1 single washroom, as Jeff alluded to earlier, now we have 4. A lot of washroom. The trucks have changed over the years as well. When I joined back in 1980, we had a 1962 tandem tanker, a 1965 international pumper, and a 1975 pumper tanker. What we have today, nothing's over 5 years old. It's a pretty nice thing. The county's looked after us well. We've gone through 3 pumpers, 3 rescues, and 5 tankers in that time period since 1980. So there's a lot of progression to keep current with equipment. Recruitment, we have 2 of our newest recruits here today, in John and Braden. They're going through the classes right now. Our 3rd, Abby, is actually in class today. So we're moving forward. Everything is always changing. That's it for me. As far as I have, feel free to wander around and ask anybody any questions afterwards. Brian Poss will be conducting a tour, and if there's any other firefighters, just ask them. They'll answer any questions and show you what there is to see.
First of all, I would like to bring greetings from my mother who was invited. She gave me a letter to read. I, Margaret Hunter, thank the County of Brant for the invitation to attend the grand opening of the new Scotland Fire Hall. Unfortunately, I am not able to attend because of my granddaughter's graduation from Redeemer University at the same time. Charlie would have been pleased to see this new building today. As you know, Charlie began to look after the fire truck in Scotland from November 25th, 1941, that's during the war, to the end of 1950, with a stipend that began at $25 a year and increased to $39.37 for the care of the truck and the fire hall in 1948. On January 1st, 1951, Charlie was hired to be the fire chief. He built and trained the volunteer firefighters over the years. He retired as fire chief on December 31st, 1996, after 46 years as chief and 55 years of service. Congratulations to Chief Jim Ritchie and his crew of firefighters, and all the best as you enjoy this new facility. Thank you for your dedication to the fire protection in this area. Margaret Hunter. So here I have the minute book for the Scotland Fire area, as it was called at the time. The first minute is August the 23rd, 1950, and it says, purchase was made by the Fire Area Board of a Hickey fire truck. That was a 1951 GMC. It was delivered the following March for $8,575.80. It's fascinating to go through here. You see I've got a lot of post-it notes. I noted all of the some of the milestones in the station. And I did that when the fellow who started with me, Norm Booth, passed away. Norm and I started together in '72. The guys at the station, I'd been tagging along with Dad. I was still going to school for, I don't know how many years, I don't remember. And the guys said, Julius, you probably were there then. You might as well join, you're always here. Dad would never push my case. He was not that type of person, but so I joined. And I was honored to follow him as chief in the station. So, Councillor Miller, I may have bent your ear then, I might bent your ear again. Thank you for helping to get this here, all of the councillors. I remember before the addition at the other station when we used to fit 4 trucks in 3 bays. Some of you were here, Jim, Ed, Brian, anybody I'm missing? Jim Huggins was there. Yep. We fit, and we had to squeeze it.
Never scratched a mirror coming out either.
Maybe Norm did. Yeah. Was more than a mirror. Anyways, wonderful time today. Thank you for inviting me, and hopefully we can chat later. Thank you.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. On behalf of the Fire Marshal of Ontario, John Pegg, and the current Acting Fire Marshal, Tim Beckett, I bring greetings on behalf of the Office of the Fire Marshal. Interesting, when you have to speak last, you've got to cross parts of your speech out. So some of the things that I was going to speak of, I've been predated by some of my colleagues, to all of the chiefs and members of this department and this area. It's really a privilege for me to be here because, as was mentioned, I have been in the area for some time. I moved down into the County of Brant area, into Brantford in 1996. And very interesting to me that all of the faces here that I've seen over the years are here, including Chief Heyman, who I don't know if you know this about Chief Heyman, but he's got a really good memory for names and for events. And he recently reminded me that of our first meeting when we met together for the mutual aid meeting. And I had to explain the, at that time, brand new Fire Protection and Prevention Act to the firefighters and what that meant. But it's certainly my privilege, and one of the first events I ever went to of this nature was Chief Hunter's retirement with 55 years of experience. And as a younger advisor, I didn't know we did those. I didn't know that we could do that to honor people in the fire service. And so for me, that was my initiation. It also showed me the level of dedication that the fire service has. And you've heard some of it today, the various family names and that have been associated, including Chief Hunter's family, and really a privilege to see you here again, Bob. It's been a great number of years, and always a privilege to come. One of the things that you may not realize when you have these events and you show those levels of dedication is it gets spread throughout the province. When I visit other departments and I'm giving these kinds of speeches and I'm talking to people in the fire service about the fire service, I mention people like Chief Hunter with his 55 years of experience. And I mention that to show that level of dedication. I mention County of Brant Fire Department as an example, of a department that took several fire departments and merged them into a single, strong, unified department. So you serve as an example to the rest of the province. Anytime I have a say and I'm influencing other people in my role as an advisor, and as I've said, as an advisor, I give advice. So I use all of the examples I can, and this department is one of them. One of the things in fire service history that is known is that the fire station is also called a firehouse. And the one thing you know about being in a firehouse is it is the people. As was explained to me earlier by one of your firefighters, this is a building. It's got doors and it's got windows and it's got washrooms and then that, but it's just a building. What makes it a firehouse is the people. And I was very similar. I was kind of chuckling under my breath when I heard the building that was built in 1960, and one of the first people that entered it started to look around and saw this and saw that, and we got to fix this and we got to fix that. Well, I had that same tour today. There's certain elements of this building that the ownership is going to be taken now. The firefighters are going to come in and they're going to make this their firehouse. And I've had to explain some of the things that they've already started to fix. And some of the things you can see, it's just like your new house. We're going to make this our house. It's going to be the Scotland area firehouse as well as station. So it's a privilege to be here for that. The other opportunity I'd like to do now is to present this plaque, and I'd like to have the opportunity to bring up, because it's a historic moment for this community, if I could have Chief Heyman to the front, and District Chief Jim, if you would come up, and Chief Hunter, if you would join us as well for this.
To do with the bricks and mortars of this building, and one of the reasons why we do need to move forward, and that is for the health and safety. I know the word was mentioned, but our politicians are well aware of presumptive legislation and how that has changed the way we conduct ourselves in the fire service. And having gear washers, which is a specialized piece of equipment, right behind Captain Stolfer there, he can do the Vanna White on it, but those are standard in the new stations. They're becoming standard around the county. There's no more of this, look how dirty I am, that's how good a firefighter I am. That's totally gone. I can add real quick, a truck driver came into my place one day and he said, geez, I went by a fire scene somewhere on the road, and he said that station must have just got all new gear, because man, they were all clean and shiny and reflective, and I was not afraid to correct him, and I said, those are good firefighters doing their job properly. We were bad for shiny trucks, dirty gear, and that was creating a lot of problems amongst our biggest asset, which is our firefighters. So these stations have very good washrooms, showers, eye wash stations, gear extractors. That's all a cost that got forwarded to our council. They supported that, especially those parts of it, 100%. So that's a big part of why these stations are here, why you'll see renovations going on at other stations. So, but yes, as we've heard, fire halls age, services in the protection area change, fire trucks evolve, new technologies are adopted, and as I said, the needs of the firefighters themselves change. To meet all these changes head on with a new build that addresses all of these, to handle them currently and into the future, the idea of this building came to light, and each person that spoke here today played a very significant part in bringing us together. As we always do, we wish all the best to the members of the Scotland Fire Station as they move forward and continue to protect their fire protection area. No, what was the wording I heard today that was new, Joan? Scotland Fire Area. Call it what you will, rest assured they will respond. So that concludes our speeches for the day. I will ask all of our dignitaries who spoke to come forward for our hose cutting ceremony.